Hey guys, welcome back to Horsepower Obsessed. It's a new day. That means a new C8 has been spied near Lake Huron this week in Michigan. So let's talk about it. Okay, so a couple different pictures of this car were taken, again, like I said, near Lake Huron in Michigan. The first picture here is probably the best picture that was taken, and it's kind of interesting. It shows something on the front bumper that I haven't seen in previous leaks or spy images, and that is this front lip around the opening in the front bumper. It's interesting because it's not on this picture here, which was taken on the Nürburgring of the same car. So this tells me this could possibly be a different model, maybe the electric E-Ray version, or maybe this is just something that they've changed up since the car has been delayed. For those of you who don't know, the car was delayed 6 months for electrical issues. This to me kind of sounds like they may be trying to iron out some issues with the actual electric E-Ray version, not necessarily just your normal electronics that are in the car, like, you know, your radio and things like that. So this to me sounds like they might be delaying this car specifically for the E-Ray version, but time will tell. Another thing that was pretty interesting about this picture here is it kind of gives us a glimpse at what the daytime running light LED strip's going to look like in the front. And it's not much like what we've seen in previous renderings. It actually shows it traveling up the headlight rather than being on the bottom or on the opposite side like some other renderings have showed. This is probably one of the best glimpses into what the LED strip's going to look like on this car that we've seen yet, aside from just user renderings taking a guess at what it would look like. Now this next picture actually shows the door open, so we get a little bit of a glimpse of the actual interior. The side view mirrors are the first thing that draw my attention here, though. They're fairly large for a car this size, and usually that is a sign of a car that is going to be sold overseas. If you take a look at the C7 Corvette, the one that we have here in the US, and then the one that they got overseas, one of the main differences is the size of the side view mirrors. They are a lot bigger on the one that gets sold overseas. As far as the interior door panel here looks, I don't know if they have it covered up. This picture is pretty low resolution, but from what I can tell, it doesn't look like anything mind-blowing here. One thing I do notice, though, and of course this could just be because it's a production model, is that that door opens like a normal door. There's no wing-style doors, Lambo-style doors, nothing like that on this particular car. Now, of course, that may not make it to production. We might get something a little bit cooler whenever the actual car is being built. This could just be because it's a test mule and doesn't have necessarily everything the actual production car will contain. But at the same time, it kind of gives us a glimpse at the interior, which doesn't look fantastic. But like I said, it could be covered up. We could be looking at things that aren't even going to make it to production anyway. This picture here is kind of funny because obviously that American flag in the back just makes me think America. But one thing I really like to point out in this picture is in the side view mirror there, you can actually see what looks like Harlan Charles driving. And if you're unfamiliar with who he is, he's actually a product marketing guy for GM. He was actually at Corvettes at Carlisle this past year talking about the ZR1. I actually took a video of him. I'll link it up here at the top right. He seems to know his stuff about these cars, and the fact that he's driving this is kind of impressive at this stage because he's probably just really trying to get a feel for the car to know exactly how GM's going to market this thing. Now, of course, it can't be sure that that's him based on that little bit of picture there, but it does look like it could be. And here are two additional renderings, of course, gotten from the mid-engine Corvette forum.com. And we've seen this rendering before, but a couple different color changes, as well as it now includes the new C8 emblem on the front. Pretty interesting. It's neat to see this car in different colors. Of course, we don't know if that's actually what it will even look like yet, but it's still interesting to see. This particular rendering here is done by ACS Composite. This is honestly my favorite look of this car yet. If this thing actually comes out and looks anything like this, it's definitely a yes for me. But Again, time will tell. A lot of the styling on this, as you can see, those front headlights have the same kind of LED daylight or daytime running light that the C7 does. And obviously with the leak we just saw, that's not what it's going to look like. So the ZR1 rims here kind of tell me, obviously, that's not really what it's going to look like either, but it's still a nice looking rendering. If it looked anything like that, it's going to be a fantastic looking car. Sources close to GM have talked about a summer 2019 debut of this car. As you guys know, a lot of people talked about this car possibly debuting at the 2019 Detroit Auto Show, but due to this whole 6-month delay due to electrical issues, it's now being pushed out to summer 2019. And over at GMauthority.com, they say that they have sources close to GM talking about the release date for this now being summer 2019. It will likely have its own standalone reveal, meaning basically this car will be announced by itself without any other cars to accompany it. Considering the hype of this car, I think that's very fitting, considering there is just loads of Corvette fans out there waiting for this car to be released or even officially announced. So I have a feeling we will see it probably in the summer of 2019, or at least get official word of the car by then. Now, today's video is not going to be too long, guys. I just had those two pieces of information for you. Just the talk of the summer 2019 release and a couple different spy shots that show a little bit more information on the car. I will leave you, though, with a 3D video rendering of the car done by the same guy who did a lot of the early renderings that actually look pretty cool. His daytime running light LED thing's not that far from what we're going to actually see on the car in the end, too. So this might be pretty close to what we're going to get. His information's right down at the bottom, though. Again, all from the mid-engine-corvette-forum.com. But take a look at that rendering and let me know what you think in the comments down below. And I'll catch you guys in the next upload.